Tonight at 8, Contact Denver 7 continuing its investigation involving a repeat offender.
We have you on the record.
Yeah.
You'll have his car ready in 2 weeks.
Yes.
A Denver mechanic taking Coloradans' money and also their cars.
He would either do nothing to them or he would take them apart.
Everything was gone. Everything except the main block of the engine.
Now he's creating new problems for old customers.
I feel like I've been taken advantage of because I'm a girl.
Growing legal peril for former President Trump after the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago.
That's right, another day in paradise. This was a strange day.
Supporters on the defensive.
Doing this 90 days before an election reeks of politics.
As the Justice Department ramps up its investigation.
No one is above the law.
Good evening, and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Amy Wattis. Tonight, a Denver auto shop suddenly closes its doors, saying, come get your broken down cars, but not your money.
Our consumer investigator Jacqueline Allen has been exposing problems at Duran Automotive for more than a year now. Today, she found out the shop just went out with a bang.
It's horrible. It's a scandal.
The scandal at Duran Automotive started long before this recent Facebook post telling customers to come get their cars immediately. They're being shut down.
The aftermath of finding out what he'd done to everyone's car was a nightmare.
Clayton Chansey is one of several customers reaching out to Contact Denver 7 because we've covered Duran before. We have you on the record.
Yeah.
You'll have his car ready in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Confronting owner Joe Duran last summer after allegations he held customers' cars for more than a year. Turns out that was just the beginning.
He actually just kept on telling me that he was just looking for the parts.
Carmen Porras has the receipt for her BMW repair paid in advance May 2021. It sat in the shop for more than a year. The repairs never done. Her license plates now missing. Her windshield now cracked. Is your car fixed?
No. I've learned, I feel like not to trust just anybody.
It's me and so many other people are screwed.
This former employee asked us not to reveal her identity. She briefly worked for Duran and says he was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Like you would take pieces out of, say, my car to put in someone else's car.
How do you know that?
I saw him do this.
She says the property owners told her Duran owed them money.
Apparently, he threw the keys at the man and said, F this. And that was that.
Leaving a lot full of broken down cars and angry customers, Duran has disappeared, not responding to our request for comment either. We found he has a lengthy criminal history from felony theft to felony sex assault.
I have not talked to him. I have not seen him. No one knows where he is.
Clayton says he wants to share their story before Duran opens shop somewhere else.
And it's just not fair. The community needs to know what we're dealing with.
For Contact Denver 7,
You have people like this that are just screwing everyone over.
I'm Jacqueline Allen.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Now, Colorado's so-called Towing Bill of Rights goes into effect today. Governor Polis signed the bill into law back in June. Here's a look at what it does. Towing companies must now give 24 hours notice before taking a car from an apartment building or mobile home park. They are no longer allowed to tow a car just for expired tags. If your car is towed, the company must release it to you if you pay 15% of the fee, which is capped at $60. You'll still be on the hook for the total bill, just not right away.
More than 200 new laws go into effect tomorrow, so let's take a look at a few. Diapers and feminine products will no longer be taxed. Hospitals will now be required to openly display prices for treatment to prevent patients from being overcharged. The law also bans hospitals that were previously not in compliance from collecting debt from patients. Certain criminal records will automatically be sealed. Those include civil infractions after 4 years that have passed, nonviolent misdemeanors after 7 years, and nonviolent felonies after 10 years. And all daycares and schools will be required to test their drinking water for lead. If the levels are too high, schools will need to come up with a plan to fix it.
Next at 8, investigators in Douglas County are looking into what caused a small plane to crash in an open field in Englewood this afternoon. The pilot was killed. The plane took off from Centennial Airport and crashed about 3 miles south of the runway. There were no other injuries.
Police in Brighton are looking for the person responsible for shooting a man in the head during a fight outside of a house party. Brighton PD says more than 50 people decided to take their house party celebrations to the streets Sunday night. This was along North Main Street. A 24-year-old has been shot in the head after a fight broke out and is now in critical condition at the hospital. Officers do not have any suspect details. Anyone with information on this shooting should call Brighton Police.
Police believe they have the man who has been terrorizing the Muslim community in Albuquerque. Police say 51-year-old Mohammed Syed has been charged with killing 2 men. He is also the primary suspect in the murders of 2 other men. All of them are Muslim. 3 men between the ages of 25 and 41 have been killed within the past 2 weeks, along with a 62-year-old man last year. Now, police say bullet casings from 2 of the crime scenes match a gun found at Syed's home. All 4 murder victims reportedly attended the same mosque.
In Mississippi, a grand jury has declined to indict the white woman whose accusation set off the lynching of black teenager Emmett Till. More than 70 years ago, Carolyn Bryant Donham accused 14-year-old Till of making lewd comments and grabbing her while she worked alone at a family store. Today, a grand jury determined that there was insufficient evidence to indict the now 87-year-old Donham on charges of kidnapping or manslaughter. Till's cousin spoke after today's hearing, calling the announcement unfortunate but predictable.
A Summit County middle school teacher wanted for 8 counts of sexual assault on a child turned himself in today. In October of 2021, school officials received 7 reports of alleged sexual misconduct involving Leonard Grams and female students. Detectives say those reports kicked off a massive investigation, which is still ongoing. The Summit County Sheriff's Office believes there could be more victims. They're asking anyone who was a victim or has any information to give them a call.
Colorado State Senator Pete Lee has been indicted on a felony charge. The Democratic state senator from Colorado Springs was indicted earlier this month for providing false information about his permanent voting residence. The 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office says Lee will have his first court appearance next month. State Senate President Stephen Fenberg tells Denver 7 that Senator Lee has been removed from his interim committee assignments until this matter is resolved. Lee's office released a statement this evening saying he plans to contest the charge.
Turning now to the fallout tonight from the unprecedented FBI raid of former President Donald Trump's Florida estate. Trump's lawyer is claiming the FBI removed about a dozen boxes from his basement in Mar-a-Lago. Meanwhile, the White House held a briefing today stressing that President Biden and the White House had no idea former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home was going to be raided. The president's press secretary went on to say the commander-in-chief was also never briefed after the raid happened. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters President Joe Biden learned about the FBI raid at former President Donald Trump's Florida estate through public reports. She referred reporters to the Department of Justice for any law enforcement related questions.
The Justice Department conducts investigations independently, and we leave any law enforcement matters to them. It would not be appropriate for us to comment on any ongoing investigations.
What Jean-Pierre did say,
President Biden has been unequivocal since the campaign. He believes in the rule of law, in the independence of the Justice Department investigations, that those investigations should be free from political influence.
The search Monday was part of an ongoing DOJ investigation into the former president's alleged mishandling of classified documents. Both the FBI and DOJ have declined to comment, but this authorized search signals a major escalation into that probe. Former Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, said there's a process you must go through before a raid of this kind happens.
You have to go before a federal judge and convince that judge that there is probable cause to believe both that a federal crime has been committed and that evidence of that crime is contained within the space.
Several Colorado lawmakers have been tweeting about the news since it broke. Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert saying, quote, "After what was just done to President Trump, it has never been more important to have voices in Congress who won't back down to the deep state. They're coming for me and you too." And Democratic Congresswoman Diana DeGette replying to former Vice President Mike Pence's tweet saying, quote, "No other president has ever orchestrated a violent coup to overthrow our government and remain in power." Meantime, some legal and national security experts think the investigation might be broader. Trump is calling the raid a political assault. We're learning this search wasn't the first time federal agents visited Trump's home. Earlier this year, the former president gave 15 boxes to federal agents. FBI officials believed he still had more, which is why they decided to execute yesterday's search warrant. We'll continue to follow the story and let you know when we learn more.
The Biden administration is moving forward with a plan to increase the supply of monkeypox vaccine in the U.S. The FDA has issued an emergency use authorization that will allow fractional doses. Providers can now administer the dose into the skin rather than under the skin, and this method will allow 5 people to be vaccinated per dose instead of just 1. As of Monday, the U.S. government has shipped more than 617,000 doses of the monkeypox vaccine to states and jurisdictions. There are currently 91 reported cases in Colorado.
The Broncos officially have a new owner. NFL team owners met in Minneapolis today to vote on the deal, which would officially transfer ownership to the Walton Penner Group. Commissioner Roger Goodell says the owners voted unanimously to approve the sale. We'll break down the deal and what it means for the Broncos this season coming up in just a few minutes in sports.
Radar's pretty quiet tonight. We have lots of 90s coming up in the 7-day.
You're going to have to wait a bit longer for those sopapillas. What's holding up Casa Bonita's long-awaited renovations?
It's outside the box, but as you can see, it's keeping true to the design.
And an iconic Denver restaurant getting an out-of-this-world makeover before its grand reopening.
The end result is fabulous, and I couldn't be happier.